Hey everybody, this is Mr. Storm, and today we are going to work on the next. Ooh, where we go? Okay, sorry. Today we're going to work on the next game in our arcade. This is going to be quite a bit of work. We have a lot to get through, so let's just go ahead and get started. The first thing I want to do is I'm going to make a copy of my index page, or we can make a copy of our number.html. That's fine too. Either way, let's duplicate or let's copy the information we want. So I'm going to copy from here. Let's keep going. We want the header in there. So we want that on there. Let's see. Yep, from there. Yep, so that's pretty much what we want. So we'll copy that. Let's create a new HTML. We'll call this alien attack.html. Okay. And then we'll paste in all of that stuff. Now I want to clean up some of this stuff up here because this is kind of gross. I noticed that we did not create a head section in here. So let's go ahead and tab all of that in, and then it just makes it a little cleaner, a little nicer. Okay. Now, because we are going to be doing some styling later on, so I want to make sure that that looks as good as possible for right now. Let's move this over a little bit. Okay, then we have our body. Separate these just a tad. And we have some page content. So there's our body. Let's actually... Oh, why is our header... Oh, it's because that's the header. That sounds good. Let's actually tab this in a bit. All right. And then we want our body end tag and our HTML end tag. Okay. So at this point, I think we should be set up and good to go for our website to look kind of nice. Hold on. Click run. There we go. Oh, we need to set up the link. Let's do that real quick. So in the index page, come over here down to alien attack. And we want the, where is the link? Image, sure. Do we need to create a link? We do. Okay. So the link is going to be, href equals alien attack.html. Oh, quotes. All right. And that's the image. Let's do A right there. Okay. So now let's run it. And when we click alien attack, it should take us to our alien attack page, which is what we want. Okay. So now let's actually start building out this alien attack project. So we have our, so this is our header stuff, okay? So we're going to go below this and we're going to start actually building the HTML. All right, and the first thing we want to build is something called a stage. Oh. Now the stage is going to be basically where our graphics are rendered so that we can actually see what the alien attack game is doing in real time. And this is pretty easy. We just create a div, id equals stage. And then inside we're going to have a couple of divs. Div id equals background. And then we want to end that div here. All right. And then we'll just copy this one. Copy. Paste, paste, paste. So we're going to have three different items. We're going to have background. We're going to have canon. Oh, we're going to have missile. And we're going to have alien. All right. So then let's make sure we end that. Okay. So now that we have those indicated on our HTML, let's run. Nothing happened. So here's why. We just created 5 new divs, but they're empty. There's nothing inside. So what we want to do is we actually want to set the background of each of these divs to match our graphics. So I don't have my pictures in here yet, but I do have them downloaded. So I'm going to grab them all and just bring them right over and dump them in. So now I have the 4 pictures that I need. I have background, I have missile, I have alien, and I have cannon. So those are the 4 things that we need. So I'm going to go up here to the style section. Okay, I'm going to tab that in a bit so it's easy to see. I'm going to organize this a little bit so it's easier to see. Okay, and we don't need the number guessing game padding thing. We can get rid of that. All right, so what we need to do up here is we need to create separate IDs for the stage, the background, the cannon, the alien, and the missiles. We need all of those set up. All right, so this is going to be a little bit of typing. Let's do stage first. Stage. In the stage, we want a width of 300 pixels, and we want a height of 300 pixels, and we want a position of relative. Okay, so that is our stage. Then we want to set our background. Background. Background is going to have the same width and height, so let's go ahead and just copy those. All right, its position is going to be absolute. Now, if you remember back all the way back to HTML, or all the way back to WebDev 1, we talked about position, relative, and absolute and what they do. Let's do top 0 pixels. We want no pixels at the top. And let's do left 0 pixels. The way the logic for this game works is we're looking at actual pixels on our screen to determine if we've actually won the game. So we want to make sure there's no border or padding or anything that's messing with our game. And then we're going to set a background hyphen image, and we're going to set that equal to a URL of background.png. Background.png. Let's go ahead and test that out just to make sure that's working. All right, so that's our background rendered perfectly onto our screen. So this right here, this is going to represent the Earth. Now we're going to have an alien up here somewhere. We're going to have a missile in front of the Earth. We're going to have a cannon down here. And then, you know, the game is going to be played by trying to figure out where the alien is and trying to, shoot your shot properly to hit the alien. Okay, let's render those things. Let's do the cannon first. Cannon. Okay, this is going to have a width and a height of 20 pixels. Let's go ahead and copy this. I'm all about not having to type stuff that I've already typed. 20 pixels, because the cannon image itself is 20 pixels by 20 pixels. Its position is going to be absolute as well, and I spelled absolute wrong. Absolute. Okay. It's also going to have a top and left pixel margin here, or positional margin or thing here, but we're not going to keep them at 0. Let's put our alien at, I don't know, just for funsies, let's say 270 by, I don't know, 140, just to make sure that it goes where it's supposed to. And then we have our background image. Let's copy that, put it in here, and instead of background, it's going to be cannon. Okay, so the cannon is going to be pushed down 270 from the top, which means it's going to be, right at about 30. But since it's a 20 pixel image, it's going to be about 10 pixels up, which is going to be the perfect spot. And it's left 140, So it's going to be 140 left. Now this is a 300 by 300 picture. So if we go left 140, and it's a 20 pixel image, that means it'll be dead center right here in the middle. So let's see if that worked the way we wanted it. And it did. It's right there. right on Earth, getting ready to protect from any aliens that may invade. All right, let's go ahead and build our alien. I'm going to copy our cannon ID here, and I will paste it in. Let's change this to alien. It also is 20 by 20, absolute. Its top, let's make it 20 pixels from the top, and we'll give it, I don't know, 80 on the left. This doesn't really matter because we're going to change its position every time we play the game. And then I will set the, there we go. Let's run that. Oh, perfect. So our alien is right there. Now the last thing we need is our missile. So let's go ahead and copy, or no, we already copied one just like it. Okay, and missile. 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 Is it missile? How do you spell missile? Missile. See, I was right. M-I-S-S-I-L-E. I was correct. Oh, I guess I could have looked over here too. Oh well. Sorry. Excuse that brain fart for a moment. All right. And this is going to be only 10 pixels by 10 pixels. And let's see. Top, we'll make it 240. So it's above the Earth right here, but it's still going to be at 140. Let's do 145 because it's 10 by 10. So we need to shrink that a little bit. And the background is going to be missile.png. All right. Hold on a second. Missile. I spelled it wrong down there. That's what messed me up. All right, there it is. There's the missile. It's right there, getting ready to be shot from the cannon. So these are the graphics as they work in our game. And honestly, it's just by setting some CSS values, that's all set up. Okay, so now that the stage is built, now we actually need to set up our user input section so that our, missile command center can actually fire the missile. Let's say user input. And then in here, we want a couple things. We're going to create a paragraph element. We'll give it an ID of output. And that's basically just going to be our output section where we can give messages to our user. Enter the X and Y position. We'll say, make sure they know it's only 0 to 300 because it's 300 pixels wide, 300 pixels tall. We'll say then click fire. All right, so those are our instructions for our user. Then we want an input with an ID of input X. We'll say the type equals text, and we'll give it a placeholder value. The placeholder is going to be X ... And then we'll do the same thing for the Y. So we'll copy. And instead of input X, it'll be input Y. Okay. Beautiful. And then we want a button. And we'll say fire. Okay, let's see what that looks like. Okay, so enter the X and the Y position. Oh, I didn't end the tags on my input. See, this is why we test things often. Okay, so there we go. So now we have enter the X and Y position, 0 to 300, then click fire. So then we have we have these two boxes ready to go, and then we have fire. Okay, beautiful. Why do I have semicolons at the end? Oh, because I put semicolons at the end for some reason. I was thinking I was writing JavaScript already, but I'm not. I'm still writing HTML. Okay, that looks better. That looks like it's supposed to. Okay, beautiful. So now everything is set up properly, and we're actually ready to start writing some code. So let's get into it. Let's do it. Let's create our script element here. and make sure we have our script end tag because our game will not work without a script end tag. Okay, let's start thinking about the things we're going to need. We need some game variables, right? We need a way to track all of the different variables this game will have, and it will have quite a few. Then we need to update our graphics or have a way to reference our graphics on the HTML side. Then we need an input and output section, a way to reference the input and output options we have on our screen. Then we need the button. We need to set up how the button works. Okay, and then we're going to need a couple methods. We're going to need the game method, a method that will run the game and make the game work properly. And then, we need a method to render the graphics because we need to update our graphics after every time we play the game because our alien's going to move, our missile's going to move, our cannon's going to move. That all has to be updated. And then we want a method that handles the end of the game, okay? Let's go ahead and create all three of these methods. So we're going to have three different methods. Let's go ahead and, functions. I'll call these functions, sorry. In C#, they're called methods, and my brain was glitching out for a minute. So we're going to have the game function, the rendering function, and the end of the game function. Let's create these functions real quick just so that they're there and we know we can use them. We'll call this play game. And then let's create a function, call it render. And then let's create an end game function. End game. Okay, perfect. So our functions are ready to go. Now we just need to set up our variables and our inputs and all that stuff. Okay, perfect. Let's give some space here so it's easier to see what we're doing. All right, so for variables, we need, they're going to be quite a bit actually. So we need a var, let's call this alien x, which is going to track where the alien is on the x. I think we set it to 80 for now. We need a var alien y. We'll set that to 20. We need a var guess x. We'll set that to 0. And a var guess y. Let's set that to 0. Then we need a variable that stores our shots remaining, and we'll set that to 8. This game will only work for 8 shots. If you don't kill the alien within 8 shots, it invades Earth. So then we'll say shots made equals 0, because we haven't played the game yet. Var game state, this is going to be a string. It's going to be just an empty string because we're going to update the game state message. That's what we're going to put out to our output. And then we're going to have a Boolean variable called game1, and we're going to set that to false at the beginning. Okay, so those are all of our variables that we need for our game. Just check something one time real quick. Okay, so we're at about 18 minutes. I think we should be able to get through most of this. Let's keep pushing. I don't want to break this up into 2 videos, so let's keep going. All right, now we need to update. We need to tie our HTML items into our graphics. So we'll say var cannon equals document.query selector, and it's going to be cannon. And we need to do this for the cannon, the alien, and the missile, because those things are going to update and change. So we'll do 3 of them. We'll call this one alien, alien, and we'll do, missile, missile. Okay, So those are the graphics. Now we need our input and output. So we need a var input x. And, oh, actually, you know what? I can just do it like this. Input x. Document, and this will be input x. Let's actually copy that. So we need our input y, and then we need our output. So input y and input y. Then we need our output. And this is going to be set to output. Okay. Then we have the button. The button is going to be basically the same as last time we created a button. So we're going to need a variable to store the button. Document.query selector. Now this doesn't have a hashtag in front of it because we're not tying the button to an ID. Then button.style.cursor. Cursor equals pointer. Then button.addEvent listener, listener, listener. It's going to be a click, and we will call our play game method whenever we click the button, and we'll say false. Okay, so at this point we have everything ready to go. Now we actually have to build the logic of our game. All right, so let's get into our play game method. The first two things we want to do is the first thing we want to do is update the variables at the beginning of the game. So every time we click the play game button or click the fire button, we're going to call the play game method. When we do that, we want to reduce the amount of shots available by 1, and we want to increase the amount of shots made, because when they click fire, they're making a shot. So we'll say shots remaining equals shots remaining minus 1. And then shots made equals shots made plus 1. Okay, perfect. Then we want to update our game state. We'll say this is shots plus shots made plus remaining plus shots remaining. So we're just updating them on how many shots they've made and how many shots they have left. Okay, then we need to get the guess from the user. All right. Oh, not their guess X, but their guess. Okay. So we need guess X equals parse int, because we need to turn that, whatever they typed from a string, into an integer. Parse int input x dot value. And then the guess Y is going to be the same. Guess Y input y dot value. Okay, so now we have to start doing some if-else statements. We got to figure out, first thing we need to figure out if let's say the guess overlaps the alien on the X. That's the first thing we need to figure out. Let me move this over a bit so it's easier to see. So we need to check to see if the missile, or if the user's guess, is within the range of the alien's X, or in the range of the alien's graphics on the X. And then we're going to do another if inside of this if to check for the Y. But we actually only need to check the Y if it's on the same level as the X. So if it's on the same, so we only need to check the Y if it matches on the X. Does that make sense? Because there's no point to check the Y if it's not even close on the X. So we'll say if guess X is greater than or equal to alien X and guess X is less than or equal to alien X plus 20. So here's what we're doing here. Okay, the alien is a 20 pixel image. All right, so if the guess X is greater than or equal to the alien X, which is the left edge, and it's less than alien X plus 20, meaning it's within that 20 pixel range, then we've hit it. Okay, perfect. If that's the case, then we now need to check the Y. So figure out if the guess overlaps on, or the alien on the Y. Okay, so same thing. If guess Y, we just change these values to Y. Now we're just checking the alien or the guess Y versus the alien Y. Now if both of those are true, then we've won the game, right? So you killed the alien. So we're going to set game 1 equals true. So that's that Boolean value that's tracking if we've won the game. And we're going to call the end game function. Okay, so we've won the game. Now, let's say it doesn't overlap on the X at all. Well, what we want is to basically say you missed and then check to see if the amount of shots they have left is less than or is greater than the remaining. Or no, the shots remaining is less than 1. If that's the case, then the game is over. If not, we'll just let them play again. So we'll say, so this is the message telling them they missed. Output dot inner HTML equals miss game state. Okay. And then we'll say, let's check to see if shots remaining is less than 1, then we will call the end game method. Okay, that's pretty easy. Now, let's say the game is won. Let's say we won the game, or let's say we haven't won the game. What we want to do then, so the game 1 hasn't turned into true, right? So now we need to update the alien's position so that our render method can take those new positional values and change where it goes. So let's say if the game hasn't been won, keeps trying to update my comments to match the variables. So if not game 1, now that exclamation point in front means not, so not game 1. Then update the alien's X position. So alien X equals math dot floor math dot random times 281. Now, can you think about why we're using 281? Well, this is a 20 pixel alien, so we don't want to do 300 because that might push him off the screen. And we're doing 281 because we want there to at least be a little bit of buffer on the end there. So we're basically just picking a random number, and then we're going to set that random number between 0 and 281 to be where the alien goes. Okay, perfect. Oh, and then we need to move the alien down toward the Earth. So, All right, so we need to move the alien down toward the Earth. So we'll say alien y equals alien y plus 30. Okay. So that's going to happen. Now, if we were to run the game right now, it may not look like anything's happening. Let's try 150 and 30. So it told me that I had a miss. Let me put a space in there. Said I had a miss, but the alien hasn't moved, nor has the missile or the cannon. That's because we haven't written this render method, and we haven't called the render method yet. So at the very end of my play game method, I want to call the render function. And so we're just going to call render. Now, down here in the render function, we need to actually create some kind of functionality. We need to make it do something. So first, let's position the alien. So that's going to be alien.style.left, meaning we're going to push it to the left or push it to the right from the left at a certain point. Alien x plus px. So we're basically changing the style of the alien. So if we come up here, we're changing the alien style to the left. We're changing that to a new value plus px so that it'll move itself in using CSS values. All right, alien.style.top equals alien y px. Okay, so that's updating the alien. Now we need to position the cannon. So we'll say cannon.style.left equals guess x. We want it to move onto we wanted to move where we've guessed so that it lines up. Okay. Then we want to position the missile. So missile.style.left equals guess x px, and missile.style.top guess y plus px. So all we're doing here is we're just changing the CSS. We're just changing the positioning values using CSS. That's our entire render function. All right, and our end game function is even easier. What we want to do here is we want to check to see if the game has been won. Now, remember, we can call our end game function either if we lose the game or if we win the game. So let's check to see which of the reasons why we're calling our function. So if we've won the game, let's change the output dot inner HTML equal to hit. You saved the Earth. Let's put a break in there. It only took you shots made. Shots. Oh. Perfect. Now, if we didn't win the game, so if the game isn't won, then we need to give them a different message. And that's going to be, let's grab this. And instead of that, we're going to say, you lost. Put a break in there. The Earth has been invaded. Okay. So believe it or not, that's actually our entire game there. It is a lot, and this video is, approaching 35 minutes now. So let's just very quickly test this out just to make sure it's working. All right, alien attack. We'll say 150 by 30. Fire. And something happened. It was just working, right? It was working properly just a minute ago. Oh man, this is going to take a whole bunch to try to troubleshoot this now. Oh, nope. I know what it is. I messed up there. Okay. Whew. Okay. 150 by 30. Fire. Okay, so notice how it rendered, right? The missile goes there. The alien goes to a new random. I've updated my graphics here. So now, let's see. The alien is now not at 150. It's probably at 180 by 40. Let's try 40. Okay, I missed. All right, so now it's probably at 170 by 60. Let's try that. Okay. I have 6 shots remaining. So let's go back. We'll say 145 by 90. Oh, this thing is elusive. Say 165 by 1. Oh no, let's say 140. I've been kind of. Oh, all right. 140 by 220. Okay, so I was at 220 right there and 140. So that's going to be, let's do 180 by 210. That's got to be it. I was so close. I was so close. I have 1 shot remaining. All right, so that's 180, 175. And we'll say 230. That has to do it. I won. I won in the last possible moment. But so that's how the game is supposed to work, right? I won. I saved the Earth. It only took me 8 shots. I literally almost let Earth get invaded. All right, so this has been a long video. I'm going to let you go so you can, continue working on yours. But once your game works, good luck, because this is, these projects are going to get more and more complicated as we go. We may have to start splitting them up into 2 videos. I probably should have split this one up into 2 videos, but, we got through it together. All right, I will see you later. Have fun.